Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me for another office hours training. I'm Crystal L. Gunn, financial strategist and small business consultant. And part of my job as a strategist is to help you have some aha moments, some self-discovery moments, and helping you to see what no longer serves you so that you can release them. And all that helps with the breakthroughs. That's where you start to shift. That's where the magic happens, be it in your personal finances or for your overall business. Today, I want to switch it up a little, talk about life insurance. Just starting with an intro and some common mistakes people make when it comes to life insurance. So, even if you have insurance, watching these trainings will be beneficial because it's always about leveling up to your next level. So, let's start with what is life insurance? Just in its simplest form, right? Simple definition. It's a contract between an individual and an insurance company where the individual pays regular monthly amounts of money, that's called the premium, to the insurance company. And in return, if that individual dies, the company pays a sum of money to the individual's designated beneficiaries. This money can help with final arrangements and support the beneficiaries financially after the individual's death. That's a really, really simple and basic definition. But the use of life insurance is vast. I will cover a lot of ways to use life insurance on the personal side and on the business side. But today, just some basic information. So, how many times have you seen it? You've seen it on social media, the requests, the GoFundMe request because someone died without any life insurance. And this isn't even a thing that is determined by how much money someone has, because you've seen very wealthy people in the entertainment industry die with no insurance or no will, and the havoc that is wreaked on the family as this thing goes into probate, right? But think about it. If there's not a lot of money, or even if it is a lot of money, having life insurance is invaluable, right? And so every time I see one of those GoFundMe, requests for someone because there wasn't any life insurance, I feel so bad for the family. Not just because of the final expenses need to be paid, but what happens after the funeral to the spouse, to the young children, right? What if there isn't a spouse or another parent that is capable of taking care of the children, is even around to taking care of the children? Now, what happens to the children if they're young? Do they have to go stay with their grandparents? And if their grandparents were on fixed income, what does adding those two other bodies in their house do to them financially? So even if you're not trying to leave a large amount of money through the death benefit to your loved ones, it's irresponsible to leave those who will be grieving your death the responsibility of trying to figure out how to pay for your funeral. So part of my commitment, and this really happened to me last year because, or just, I don't know, stung me last year because of the amount of GoFundMe requests that I was seeing on social media. I said, you know what? I have to make a commitment. And I made a commitment to educating people about life insurance because I am a licensed life insurance agent, but going harder in the paint and educating people about life insurance and getting them into policies that suits their needs. I tell you all the time on my business strategy and my financial strategy, working with clients, I don't believe in cookie cutter solutions. It's the same thing with life insurance. You can have two people who make $100,000. They both got spouses and both have two kids under 10. Their needs when it comes to their life insurance, it's going to be absolutely, totally different. So you have to have that conversation. So that is my commitment to educating people about life insurance, getting them in the policy that suits their needs, via in-person workshops, online consultations, and also showing the industry to people who may want to become licensed life insurance agents. But before we start talking about some of the different forms of life insurance that I'll talk about in some future trainings, let's look at 6 common mistakes people make when it comes to life insurance. Number 1, having life insurance only through work. And y'all have heard me say that does not count. And I'll tell you why. Let's say you have life insurance through work, and we know this is happening right now a lot. Tons and tons of companies are laying off tons and tons of staff, right? So you only have life insurance through work. You get laid off, lose your job. Most people don't ask the question when they leave an employer, they get fired or they get laid off. They're not going to HR and asking about that life insurance policy, right? So now you no longer have life insurance because you don't work for that company anymore. You may get a job tomorrow, but typically it's 90 days before you get any type of benefits. What happens to your family if something happens to you 60 days later? You don't have a life insurance policy. Who's going to pay for the funeral? What's going to happen with your children if you have children? What happens to your spouse, right? What happens if your children have to go live with your parents who are older and on a fixed income? What is that going to do to their lifestyle? What is it going to do to your children's lifestyle, right? So having life insurance policy through work only doesn't even count. Number 2, understanding coverage needs. I'm sorry. Number 2 is underestimating coverage needs. So a common mistake is not purchasing enough life insurance adequately to cover financial needs. People often underestimate the amount of money required to support their dependents' living expenses, education, debts, and other obligations after their birth. Remember, it's not just about the funeral. The funeral is one piece of it, but now after the funeral, your family has to live. How do they do that? Your income is now gone. So if you were contributing $50,000 or $100,000 to the income in your house, that income is gone. What happens to your family? What happens to your spouse? What happens to your children? What happens to your parents? It's important to conduct a thorough analysis of financial obligations and future needs when determining your coverage. Number 3, choosing the wrong type of policy, right? Most people are very, very much aware of a term policy. Some people are aware of a burial policy. There's so many uses for life insurance, and it comes in various forms, like term life, whole life, universal life, these permanent policies, each with different features and purposes, right? So choosing the wrong type of policy can lead to inadequate coverage or unnecessary expenses, right? Again, going back and saying all you had was a term policy for $25,000. Well, that's better than having nothing because someone can bury you, right? So that's better than having nothing. But you got 2 kids, you got a spouse, or 2 kids that now have to go stay with your parents. They spent the majority of the money on your funeral. What happens now to your children, to your family, to your parents if they have to take care of your children? They're on a fixed income. Now they have this added expense of these 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, whatever that is. So choosing the wrong type of policy, right? And that goes hand in hand with inadequate coverage. So number 4, waiting too long to buy. Age and health are 2 critical factors that affect life insurance premiums. Remember, the premium is the monthly amount that you pay to the insurance company. The younger and healthier a person is, the lower their premiums will be. So when you start to delay the purchase of life insurance, it can result in significantly higher costs or even disqualification for health reasons. When you talk about things like permanent life insurance policies, the older you are, the higher the cost, and some of the benefits of having a permanent policy, it just doesn't, the cost outweighs that, right? So I love it when I talk to my 20-year-old clients or some 20-year-olds, in their 20s, early 30s, come to a workshop and we can talk about life insurance. I can do illustrations on them and show them where, because they're younger, getting them into some sort of permanent policy, the benefits of that, building the cash value in that, and how that's going to look in 10 and 15 years, right? In 20 years or 30 years. How often have you heard people say, or you've seen it in interviews or whatever, and people started a business and they say, well, yeah, I was able to pull $100,000 from my life insurance policy, right? So the younger you start with life insurance, the better. So don't wait too long to buy. And again, if you have no insurance or if you only have insurance through work, only having insurance through work is better than no insurance. However, I always say that doesn't count. That's the and one. It's not what you rely on. And so if you don't have any insurance, why are you waiting until next week to call me? Why are you waiting until next month to call me? Because what if something fatal happens to you today and you have no insurance? What does it do to your kids and what does it do to your family? You got to be proactive on that because there is no reactive when it comes to life insurance. If something fatal rather happens to you, you can't go back. And, what can they do now? It's gone. The option is gone. So be proactive. Get some life insurance. Number 5 is neglecting policy reviews and updates. Life circumstances changes in social life insurance coverage. Major life events like marriage, birth of a child, a home purchase, or significant change in income or starting a business could trigger a review and possible adjustment of life insurance coverage. You need to go back and talk to your agent about whatever those life changes have happened, right? If you were in your 20s and got a policy, and it had $100,000 death benefit and you were building some cash value, now you're 32, you have a wife, a new baby, or husband, a new baby, and you all have purchased a home. But that $100,000 death benefit, depending upon your lifestyle and all of that, probably isn't going to be enough. So you need to go back and reassess and review your policy and make any adjustments necessary. Number 6, focusing solely on price. I see people pay for everything that they want, whether they can afford it or not, right? I see people pay for all of the things that they want, right? Body enhancement surgery, all of the purses, hundreds of pairs of gym shoes and all of those things. And oftentimes they don't have insurance at all, or they have very inadequate insurance because they haven't thought, what happens to my family after I am gone? So cheaper policies may not provide adequate coverage or the right features that are needed. While it's important to find an affordable policy price, basing the decision solely on that price can be a huge mistake. And if you're no longer here, you're not going to be the one that suffers as a result of that. So when I'm working with my clients and we're building that efficient and effective budget, right? One of those line items, and if you've downloaded my budgeting worksheet and instructions, it's in the description, there's a line item for life insurance, right? If when you're starting to fill that budget out, you don't have anything in that line item, you need to call me because we need to get you some life insurance. Start where you are and you can adjust as you go, but you need to have something in place, right? Something in place. Don't focus solely on price. Next week, I will discuss some of the different types of life insurance and dig a little deeper into some things you consider or should be considering when you're looking for life insurance. If you are ready to discuss life insurance, especially if you don't have any or you only have it through your job, click the link in the description to schedule a free life insurance consultation with me today. Don't wait. Don't leave your loved ones with the responsibility of paying for your funeral and the inability to cover life expenses because your income is no longer there. It can be absolutely devastating. Schedule your consultation with me today. And part of my favorite thing is part of my favorite thing during these office hours is the section where I can talk about my favorite things, right? So today it is the life insurance calculator. And the link is under my favorite things in the description. So the life insurance calculator will help you to determine how much coverage you may need. It will start to help you wrap your mind around what will happen to your family if you are no longer here and you haven't left anything to help them, right? So it's gonna make you think. And that's why I absolutely love it. And it's free to use it. So go to the description down, click the link for the life insurance calculator. So now we always talk about next steps. I'm always giving you some homework, always giving you something to do because it's about elevation to the next level, to your next level, not to someone else's next level, but to your next level. And it's a journey, it's a process, right? So the next steps that I give are part of the journey, and it's taking the journey step by step so that you can get the most out of it. It also is why I break it down in small steps. It's the same reason why I won't do a in-person workshop or even a virtual workshop and talk about every single area when it comes to financial education. Why? Because it's too much information. I don't want to throw up on you with all of that information and you walk out of the workshop and you don't do anything. I'm very targeted and specific, and I'm always going to leave you with 3 things to do after you meet with me any kind of way, right? The small steps to get you to that next level for you. So, what are these next things that you should be doing? First one, think about your family. I mean, really sit and think about it. Turn the music off, turn the TV off, go in a room by yourself and think about your immediate family. Do you have children? Do you have a spouse? Your parents? What happens if you die tomorrow? You can't stop them from grieving because that's going to happen. But what happens if you die tomorrow and you have no insurance? What does that do to them financially? Does it just cut their dreams off at the knees, your kids, right? What if you don't have a spouse and your children's father or your children's mother is not around to be able to take care of them and they have to go stay with your parents? Your parents are going to raise them as their grandkids. But what does the added bodies in that house do to your parents, especially if they are on a fixed income? So think about your family. What happens if you die tomorrow and you have no insurance? How does that impact them past the grief? And if you have life insurance at work or outside of work, does your immediate family know how to get to it and how to reach out to the company to get the benefits to cover your final arrangements and whatever else was left? So the first thing you want to do is you really want to think about your family. Because life insurance, where in some instances it is about you, when you're using it for some of the other features outside of a death benefit, or you're using it on the employer side. But at the end of the day, life insurance really is about those that you love the most, because that death benefit and any cash value that may be remaining is going to be the thing that helps them after you're gone. So, number 2, if you have insurance through your job or outside of your job, review it. Who's the beneficiary? Don't put the minor, somebody under 18 as a beneficiary. And depending upon, somebody 18, 19, 20, 21, you may or may not want them to be the beneficiary. It may behoove you to have a trust set up, right? But make sure your loved ones, or at least one, knows where the policies are and what to do if something happens. You don't know how many stories I have heard that, someone in the family paid for the funeral because that wasn't an issue. And then going through the house afterwards, they found insurance policies. Or the flip side of that is they didn't have the money. They went and got a GoFundMe account. But then once they were, again, going through and cleaning out the house, they found some insurance policies that they really needed earlier. But because no one had discussed them with them, no one knew, they did not know where they were. So make sure somebody knows where the policies are and what to do if something happens to you. And the third thing is, if you don't have any life insurance or you only have it through your job, click the link in the description and schedule a free life insurance consultation with me today. Don't wait too long. You won't experience the negative impact of your death, but it could totally be detrimental to your children and other loved ones. And I'm talking about beyond the grief. So think about your immediate family. Review your life insurance policy. Make sure people know where those policies are. And if you don't have insurance, schedule your consultation with me today. Let's talk about it, right? And be sure to go back to the life insurance calculator and just start to get a handle of what you need in a coverage amount. You may not even be able to start there, but we need to start somewhere. So click the link, schedule a consultation with me today. If this information has been helpful to you, please subscribe to my channel and be sure to turn notifications on so that you do not miss a training. Also, if you are in need of personal or business strategy, let's talk about it. Go to crystalgunn.com to schedule a consultation. The link is also in the description. Make sure if you're scheduling any type of consultation with me, you click on the correct link, because some links have questions that I need to know before we get on the phone so that I'm prepared for that. So just make sure that you're clicking the right link. And as we wrap up for today, remember to always give yourself some grace. It's tough out here right now. It's a lot going on in the world, right? And it's impacting you, even if you don't know that it's impacting you. So remember to always give yourself some grace. Keep striving for your next level and never, ever give up on you. Invest in you. I promise you, it will change your life forever. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I will see you on the other side at the private Q&A. That link is in the description as well. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time. Be sure to join me for the private online Q&A immediately following. The link is in the description. And if you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and turn notifications on so you never miss this opportunity. Thank you again, and I will see you on the other side.